Mr. Quinn, you're back in Guyana.
Yep.
Of course, you're one of those foreign diplomats who served for up to 5 years from 2015 to 2020. And even after you left in August of 2020, you returned for a short period,
Yes.
A few weeks after. But you're back again, and there are lots of speculations as to why you are here.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
This is an easy one to answer, Kurt. This is an easy one to answer. Obviously, there's a lot going on, not just with the border to the west, but to the border to the east as well.
Right.
And as you well know, the High Commission here also has responsibility for Suriname. So London had decided that, given what was going on, they wanted to provide a bit more senior cover in Guyana whenever Jane was on leave.
Right.
To provide resilience to the team here. They asked me, I was available, I'm still on their books, and would I want to come back? And I said, of course, and so I'm here just to cover that period of Jane's leave.
Right. So to ask the direct question, you're not replacing High Commissioner Jane. She's not being recalled.
Scurrilous rumour.
Right.
Not at all. She is coming back on the 27th, and then I will depart back to the UK after that.
Excellent. So what happens for the few weeks that you will be here acting in the capacity as High Commissioner? Any meetings with the President? What is to be expected?
Well, I think it's exactly the same. I mean, I'm basically doing what Jane would have done if she had have been here. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff to do in Venezuela.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff to do on Suriname. There's stuff we want to move forward on programs and projects that we're doing. I'm looking to see, I think, the Foreign Minister tomorrow. I will see others throughout government as and when needed. So I'm basically just doing a job that I would have done, or as Jane would have done if she'd been here.
Right. You've referred to the border controversy a few times. Why does it seem like a priority for the High Commission?
I think if you look at what the Foreign Secretary has said,
right,
and it's important here that we stress things like the importance of territorial integrity. We've been very clear about the border being settled in 1899. We've been very clear in supporting Guyana's territorial integrity. We're very clear in supporting territorial integrity around the world, not just here. And we want to be seen to be standing with, both our friends in Guyana, but a fellow Commonwealth country in Guyana as well, in supporting that fundamental issue. And the Foreign Secretary, if you look back to what he has said, or even Minister Rutley whenever he was here, or subsequently, they have all been very clear in saying exactly that.
Right. As I said at the opening, you are one of those foreign diplomats who served for a long time, still respected for your work. So to talk a little more about what's happening to you personally, what has happened over the last 3 years after you left Guyana in 2020? I know you spent some time in Toronto.
So I went back to London and helped head up the department which covered this part of the world. So I was still dealing with Guyana, and then they asked me to go out to Canada to cover in Toronto for a little bit. So I've just been doing what my bosses back in London sort of tell me to do and tell me where to go. And part of the joys of this job is, you never quite know when you're going to be going or where you're going to be going and what you're going to be doing. And that's what makes it so interesting, Kurt, frankly.
You never know what you're going to be doing or where you're going to be going. But my next question is, what happens next? What happens after High Commissioner Miller returns and takes over?
So I go back to doing what I was doing temporarily before I came here, which was this UK Africa Investment Summit, which is a follow-on from one we did in 2020. And of course, it's obviously quite a link between Africa and Guyana now as well.
A growing link.
So there's some unexpected but interesting sort of synergies between what's happening in Guyana and what Guyana is doing with Africa, what the Caribbean is doing with Africa. So I can bring some of that experience over to the investment summit that we're doing back in the UK.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add on the Guyana UK relations before we wrap up?
I mean, I think on the Guyana UK side, I think things continue to go from strength to strength. What Jane and the team here do is spectacular, really, and it's wonderful that we have had so much activity, so much work, so much on the program side. And I think if I look at if I look at where we are now, I think we're in a really, and the business stuff, not forget the business stuff, as Jane says on regular occasions, you know, what is trade, a billion pounds or whatever these days. Whenever I first arrived, it was 92 million. You know, that's a tenfold increase in like 7 years, 8 years. That's spectacular. So the trade, and the trade work has always been important, but I think that really demonstrates how we have UK business wanting to come back. And it's not just oil and gas, Kirk. So it's not just about the oil and gas, it's about the infrastructure, it's about the services, it's about the medical, it's about everything else. And to see that range of trade in both directions is really makes me happy, frankly.
What is your impression of the transformation that has taken place since you left Guyana in 2020?
I'm slightly speechless because it's quite hard to sort of explain how different Georgetown in particular looks now to what it was when I left. I mean, the diamond, you know, the bypass, the Ogle Diamond bypass road wasn't there. All of the work on the sea wall wasn't there. The Pegasus was not completed, or the new Pegasus was not completed. I think the infrastructure development has been, you know, all the hospitals and whatever is being built is quite amazing. But of course, with that problem, or with that issue, comes the problem of there's an awful lot more cars on the road here now. And getting from A to B takes an awful lot longer than it used to. Now, I know there's work being done in developing the roads. And one of the roads that, of course, you and I have talked about in the past is the Linden-Mabura road, which we are co-funding. And I'm really happy that that is now making significant progress in terms of being asphalted or whatever. But the building around here, I mean, Georgetown is becoming an increasingly different place in a good way from the one it was whenever I first arrived. There's still much more to do.
All right, and I'd encourage you to travel out to the other regions.
Well, you know me, I mean, I always wanted to. I always got out and about, and I hope I can actually get out and about in the few weeks I'm here. Rupununi was always one of my favourite bits of Guyana. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get down to the Rupununi, but I'll certainly be heading, hopefully, east and west.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, Kurt.